Oh, it works. Ladies and gentlemen, it's always great when it works. It's a Wednesday, so I figured my computer would be like, today? And not today. We usually do this Friday. But I was feeling lazy today. It's the reason why I'm doing this. Instead of putting out a video today, I didn't. But I wanted to do this. Full disclosure, it's just me being lazy. But the inspiration came from yesterday. I was in the comment section of someone else's stream, and they were asking some really good questions about police interrogations. And I was, typing, but slow mode was on, and I only have so many characters I can use. I was like, you know what? I know people have been asking for me to do an interrogation stream, and I really wanted to, where we go over some interrogation stuff. And today's the day. Today is the day that I wanted to do it, at least to start. This isn't going to be the only one. This is more like, it's not the real big Friday stream, because Friday is usually where I do like the main stream. But we can iron out the kinks for like the real thing. So, hi folks. Before we get started, first of all, I think Team Skeptic is doing a stream right now, and it's probably a very good stream. So, if you want to come back to this one later, feel free. By all means. I think he's going over something with Masshole and Chille, and it, I'm sure, is just mwah. I'm going to go and watch it after this. But if you want to watch that live, by all means, please do. Oh, Unforgiven Jerry, you were the one asking questions, weren't you? Yeah, I think so. I think so. I'm sorry if I'm wrong about that. But, oh, you also noticed this. We'll get to that in just a second. Calm down, everyone. Despite the fact that I'm the one that brought it up. I don't have much of a plan here. If you have a police interrogation you want me to go over that you're like, oh, I really want some input on this, hit me with it. I have some tabs open just in case I can pull from something. We're not going to watch the entire thing. We're just going to get through some. I don't know how long the stream is going to be. I just want to talk about some of the stuff. If at any point you have questions about interrogations, ask in the chat. I'm going to be trying to pay attention to the chat. We'll see. We'll see. And I really want to answer all these questions because interrogation, hence this look, is something that I did professionally. There it is. This badge, I usually have it over there, but for the camera, it's better over there. Excuse me. This is not a prop. This is a real badge that I wore doing real law enforcement, real criminal investigations, both for counter narcotics. I got this when I was working with CID, and then I kept it and reused it when I was working MPI in the Army. So this is real. This is the vest I wore under my gear. I'm wearing it over my gear because I'm lazy and I wanted the aesthetic. And sometimes I did wear it over my gear. You don't know me. Okay. And Rennie, by the way, is going to see if she can get your good questions into my Discord. So if I don't answer it, it's because your question was terrible. That's a joke. She didn't say good questions. She's going to put the questions in here that she sees. That's just me having a bit of fun. But there's that. So I know a thing or two about interrogation because that is one of the things I excelled at in investigations when I was in the Army. First thing first, before we get into anything, the first 10 minutes is generally going to be just me rambling while people trickle in. It is Wednesday, so it's probably not going to be too many people trickling in. There's some other really great streams happening right now. That's fine. I just wanted to put out some content. I really want to do this, and I didn't want to make an edited video instead of this because, again, me being lazy. I'll tell it to you again. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Rennie's typing things, and I'm confused. Dog head tilt. Where was I? I don't know. Oh, yeah, 10 minutes rambling. If you're watching this after the fact, skip forward the first 10 minutes, just me having a good time, getting all hyped up, warming up the audience. Well, maybe not. I'm just warming myself up. But you may notice, this isn't apple juice, and you're correct. It's Wednesday, my dudes. It's a solid meme. Wait. I can do that better. It's Wednesday, my dudes. It's a meme. Some of you older people might not get it. Some of you younger people are like, you're an idiot. That's fine. You're not wrong. But it's Wednesday. Happy middle of the week. But I don't consume apple juice very often. And I don't want to do it not on Friday. So I was thinking to myself, what could I do instead? And I remembered the grocery store near me has habaneros. And I was like, what if I just ate a habanero instead for a coin flip? For those of you unfamiliar with a coin flip, If someone is incredibly generous and they're donates during the stream, does a super chat or a sticker, and that super chat happens to be $20 or more, I generally flip a coin. Then something happens. On Fridays, I usually flip a coin. If it's heads, I drink a little bit of apple juice. Apple juice. It's apple juice, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you are still confused. But today, that's not going to happen. So I was like, I'll eat a habanero. So I go to the store. They have 2 habaneros, just 2. I'm like, I can't. That's not enough. That's not good enough. So I grabbed them anyway. I'm like, I'll figure something out as I go along. And then I saw some hot sauce. It's Chille habanero hot sauce. I'm like, it wouldn't be funny if I, poured this on the habanero. And then I found some Famous Dave's Devil Spit seasoning. I don't know what this is, but it looked fun. And it would sprinkle really well onto that hot sauce. And I just kept seeing things that were really hot. And I eventually came up with the idea of, you know what, I'll show you. We're going to get to this camera right here. Finally, we got this working. But bam, blue bacon. It's a funny joke. Laugh. So we have this. And I'm going to cut a little slice. We're going to put it on a little cracker right there. Put a little, probably some of this habanero salsa, which you can't see very well because focusing on the camera is focused to this and not that. It's a thing. It's f-stop. I'll fix it. Probably never. And then, we'll sprinkle a little bit of this seasoning on there. It'll be great. And I think we'll top it off with a little bit of horseradish because why not? Why not, ladies and gentlemen? We do what we want. But that's what the coin flip is today. And that milk is just in case. So there you go. In case any of you are wondering what it is instead of apple juice, that's the situation. Also, that's weird. Where was it? Oh, it's here, right? How can I not use that pun? So there's that. Before I answer some of your questions, there's some good questions coming out. Let me fix something real quick. Here we go. Bear with me for a second. Sorry about this. All right. I had to fix the thing. Okay. Let me answer some questions, and then around the 10-minute mark, if there's something like an interrogation you're familiar with, and you want me to go over, by all means, let me know. I know the Colonel Russell Williams thing is a very popular one. We watched some of it for training, but I think it's like 3 hours long, 2.5. I have the tab up. It's this video is 2 hours, 39 minutes. I mean, and that might not even be the full thing. That might just be someone's edit of it. A lot of these videos do have other people's commentary, so I do have to be careful about stealing their commentary because the videos are generally public, but the commentary is not. So we'll be careful with that. Let me know. And while y'all catch up in the chat, because there was a bit of delay, let me read some questions. We got Salacious asks, I just want to know which of the interrogation techniques I can use on my children. Well, that's a good question. I can tell you, I know that, like, it's a joke, right? Children aren't hard to catch in a lie. If they're really young, children are terrible liars. There are also things you'd be like, oh, if you lie, your nose turns red. If they're very young, they'll cover their nose, and that's how you know that they're lying, because they're like, no one will see my red nose because I'm covering it. But like, you didn't think that. Very young kids. For interrogation for children, that's really something that isn't often done unless absolutely necessary, because generally a child, a juvenile, has to have their parent with them, a legal guardian, or a lawyer. And generally in interrogation, if a lawyer comes into the interrogation, they're just going to end the interrogation. That's fine. And we can talk about lawyers and interrogations for years, I'm sure. Parents might allow it. I know there are some interrogation videos out there where the parent did allow it, generally because their child was not an actual suspect, but possibly a witness. So it gets really complicated. It can be very difficult. Honey Badger, you jerk. You jerk. So it's only a coin flip. You might not get it. I'll finish this and then we'll get to that. I know the read technique is great technique, by the way. The problem is that it is there are studies that show it might have a higher chance of...
Have a spicy bite on me, hungry face, kissing face.
It reads the emojis. It's great. Thank you, Annie Badger. The read technique on children and on people who are mentally unwell, who might be a little sort of below the average, is believed to possibly be more likely to elicit a false confession. So when it comes to children, you have to be very, very careful with all of that, because if you do it wrong, you're going to get torn apart in court. And I obviously don't want to get anyone to confess to something that they haven't. I've had that issue where I had to stop the interrogation and like go find my boss and go, I think he's lying to protect somebody. He's saying he did it, but like what he's saying is not consistent with what we know. I think he's making stuff up, and we had to address it. And it's a very complicated thing. I don't want just the numbers of I won. You know, I'm here to, or I was there to, for justice, right? And getting the wrong guy, even if they're trying to get got, that's not justice. So Aaron, thanks so much, says, Matt Pat did some tests over on food theory. Specifically, milkshakes are good for countering spicy foods. Oh, I do love Matt Pat. But hey, that's just a theory. I don't know how his voice, I maybe I could figure it out if I tried. He's great. He's a lot of fun. He does such a good job of just finding things and breaking stuff down. And it speaks to me because I do that as well, just sort of a different part of the world. All right, Honey Badger, let's go to the blue bacon. Okay. Let's see. We're gonna start with the habanero salsa. Getting a text. That's fine. Something important. Okay. Get the. There we go. Oh, fresh. Just fresh. Little bit of salsa there. You gotta. Okay. So you know. We're gonna take this slow. That's a good chip. Yeah, like Bob Ross of spicy foods. All right, we take our knife. Oh yeah, knife. I'm gonna pretend I know what I'm doing. We're gonna. This knife is not sharp. That's okay. You know what? Let's go now. Let's have two. There's one right there. There's one right there. Oh, you'd love to see it. Now we're going to open this up. It is sealed. Don't say I never did anything for you guys. I'm having a great time. It's just, all right. Oh yeah, that smells spicy. Oh, that's a problem right there. You don't want to do that. That is too. I'm gonna hurt. I'm gonna Johnny Cash hurt up in here. I'm gonna die. We're not done yet, though. All right, let's keep it going. Just a little bit more. Oh god, that's so much hot sauce. That is a hot sauce, ladies and gentlemen. I was like, how bad can it be? It's habanero on habanero. It can't. Like, oh, who cares? And then it came out so quickly. Oh. Little seasoning. Rotate that so you can see. I don't know what the seasoning tastes like. Let's find out. It's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's a pretty good seasoning. All right, let's keep it. Just the last touch is a little horseradish because I hate myself. Oh yeah, now that looks terrible. Now do keep in mind, I did all of this and I haven't even flipped a coin. So we're gonna do that. It's well, let me let me show it to you. It's heads. That's heads. That's tails. It's a challenge coin. But this is what I consider to be heads. And now I'm upset. Shaking. Don't I enjoy this more than the apple juice? his soul leave my body. I'm going to take that milk now. Don't chew. I gotta give the people what they want. Changing colors? Yeah, I think I'm turning a little red. F in the chat, folks. Inquisitor Bacon's right. It was pretty tasty, though. Not gonna lie. It's hot. Might need more milk. You're right. I might need more milk. I was ready. I knew what I was doing. All right. Oh. Yeah. All right, let me keep answering questions. How do you interrogate a super intoxicated person? Wait until they clean up or use their state to your advantage? No. You wait until they're not sober. Or they're not... They are sober. They're not drunk. I'm gonna keep drinking milk. I could survive without milk, but I have to keep talking, so... You cannot interrogate a super intoxicated person because you cannot confirm that they understand the rights that are advised to them. So you always wait. Otherwise, everything is getting thrown out that comes from that interview, interrogation. Oh, like, all right. That's a great question. Judy got this, says, defense lawyers say we should never talk to police unless and until we have an attorney present. Thoughts? Generally, that's true. Generally, that's good blanket advice. It's not always correct, though. It is good blanket advice. If I'm in an interrogation, I'm doing the interrogation, and you say, I want a lawyer. If you ever indicate that you might want a lawyer, if you think, if you say, maybe I shouldn't talk, maybe I should get a lawyer, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to clarify your statement. I'm not trying, and this is what I did. I promise you this. I'm not trying to screw you over. Maybe it was like a major murder case. I wouldn't do that. I never worked in any major murder cases. I was not in that position. I was not in homicide or anything like that. If you at any point made the slightest indication that you might want an attorney, I would stop and say, I'm gonna have to clarify that statement of yours. It's not like that time where someone's like, oh, I think I want a lawyer dog, right? Where it was it ruled that didn't count? I think I want a lawyer dog, right? I think I want a lawyer is not a statement that I want a lawyer. So technically the police can keep going, but the argument that was made, I guess, was like, oh, he asked for a lawyer dog. What's a lawyer dog? We're not required to provide him a lawyer dog, right? That's not a lawyer. A lawyer dog isn't a thing. Ultimately, I think the ruling was like he didn't technically ask for a lawyer. He said, "I think I might want it." I'm not sure what the ruling was. It's a whole thing, but well, okay. Let's say I have a ton of evidence, and it looks like you did it, but you have a super sweet alibi, and I haven't arrested you yet. But I'm like, I suspect that you're a murderer. I suspect you murdered this person. Now you can say, "Oh, well, I'm not talking until an attorney's present." At which point, there's a good chance I'm going to arrest you. You're going to get processed. You're going to go to jail or a holding cell. You're going to start the pre-trial stuff. I do not have to give you an attorney. And I think in most places, an attorney is not required to be provided to you. The whole you get one phone call thing, that's a lie. Some places do, in fact, do that. But that is not often a requirement. If you ask for an attorney, the only time I have to provide you an attorney on my end of things is never, really. The only time that actually matters is if I'm asking potentially incriminating questions while you're in my custody. So interrogation, that's what an interrogation is. It's not, I'm going to beat you up. It's you're in my custody and I'm asking questions that if you answer might incriminate you. That's what is an interrogation. An interview is one of those elements is missing. That's the difference. Either you're not in our custody or we're not asking questions that are potentially incriminating. If you ask for an attorney, I'm just going to stop the interview and we're going to keep processing you. I'm not going to get you an attorney. Well, I might let you call your attorney, but your attorney's going to say, stop talking. But so in that sense, yes, there are situations where it would make sense to talk, but they're like super specific situations. In that case, it would just be like, I have an alibi and this is going to stop you from actually establishing the probable cause needed to arrest me. Because now there is something that takes away from the evidence you have, and therefore it goes from probable cause to reasonable suspicion. That's not arrestable. However, that's pretty rare. And so as a blanket statement, yes, don't talk to the police is generally better. It will help you long-term, whereas talking to the police might help you short-term at best, but long-term, it's not really going to do anything. All you're doing is like, oh, maybe there are a couple days where I have to do jail processing and court hearings or whatever. That's the difference. So generally, I would recommend don't talk to the police. If you've done something wrong, like you probably don't want to talk to the police. Don't try to be cleverer than them because maybe you are, maybe you're not. But as a blanket statement, it's not a bad blanket statement. It's not always correct though. But as having been law enforcement, more people really should take that advice. Next question. When interrogating someone, should you point at them when asking questions? Should you peer at them from under the brim of your cowboy hat? Neither. If it's one or the other, I'd say peer out from the brim. Point at them. I feel like this is a reference to something that I'm missing. Amber Given Jerry asks, is it okay if he offers what is said to be a good investigation? Absolutely. Feel free. Sorry, it took us a while to get to that. Avalon, thanks so much for your statement. Why I'm sorry, I have it. It says, here's a good question about interrogation. When are the police allowed to lie to those they are interrogating? Please see Frazier versus Cup. I won't read it now, but I can tell you from my experience and my training, police can lie to you, and police can lie to you in interrogations. The lies or the statements made cannot be shocking to the conscience and is it good? There's specific phrasing that can't be shocking to a jury, right? If you watch the show Mindhunter, amazing show, there was a scene where one of the FBI agents is talking to either a serial killer or a suspected serial killer. He's saying, yeah, I bet you like doing thing. Oh, I would have done thing as well, like this heinous thing. Yeah, tell me. Oh, let's swap. Tell me about it. I love thing, right? You can't do that necessarily because a jury would be shocked by it. And therefore, I'm not sure if it's like it's illegal, but your testimony will get thrown out. Like you don't want to turn the jury against you, so you don't do that. Is it legal? I don't know. You can't tell a lie that we can't promise you anything. I can promise. I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna go talk to somebody, but I can't say if you do this, I promise you, I'll get you a reduced sentence. What I might say is, once I'm done here, we're gonna communicate. If it's a soldier, I'm gonna communicate with your commander, or a civilian, or if a soldier as well, depends. I'm gonna talk to the prosecutor, which is true. Every investigation I do, at the end of it, we go and we run it by an attorney, the prosecuting attorney, someone in JAG, and we talk about it and we see if the elements are met, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It was really great. I learned a ton of stuff about how case law works and how to interpret various things. Because every single case, I had to go and hash things out with the prosecutor and say, "Are we done? Do you opine that probable cause exists? Do you opine it doesn't? Do you have other things you want us to try to get?" Fantastic stuff. But I can't say that I'm going to talk to them and I'm going to get you a better sentence if you cooperate. I might say, I'm going to talk to them. If you cooperate with me, if it's your commander, I'm going to, if your commander hears that you were sad that what you did is what you did and you're looking to improve yourself, I imagine that him being a human being, he's going to be a lot nicer about it. But if you lie to me and if you play these games with me and I'm able to prove that you did this, I can't imagine that he's going to be happy about that. And you can say the same thing about the prosecutor. Now, I'm not saying anything either way. It's all speculation is basically what I'm doing. It's not technically a lie, but it's something I can do. But I can say, hey, so we recovered fingerprints from the scene, even if we didn't. That's a lie I can tell. I'm not going to say they're your fingerprints. Generally, that's you can. An innocent person will be like, they can't be my fingerprints. Haha. A guilty person might try to explain it away. There are all these responses that you would look for based on your question. A lot of these questions are asked for specific reactions that they want to see. Innocent people and guilty people react differently to certain questions. There are specific questions that you can ask. I used to have a book that I would go through. If I had a case, I was like, oh, I got an interrogation schedule today. I would go through it and be like, this. I think it was a book on the read technique, but I didn't use the read technique. I pulled things that worked really well for me and my technique from the read technique. And one of the things in this book was, here are these questions, and here's what you want to look for. It's like, oh my God, of course, obviously. And then eventually you get used to it and you start to see these things on your own. But when I was brand new, that's what I did. So there are certain questions. So if you're innocent, and I say, we have fingerprints, they're going to be yours? No. Why would they be mine? No. And probably just a quick answer. A guilty person might know, oh man, there is a chance that they're going to be my fingerprints. So they might try to come up with a reason. Now, this isn't going to tell you if they're lying or not, but you pay attention to their body language, how they respond. I'm really good at hearing lies audibly. I know that like body language is the big thing, but like you hear the lie. We'll see if I can explain it if we get into any of these videos. But you ask these questions and you say these things to see what the response is so that you can continue in a direction that you think will be effective. So if I say we have fingerprints, I can say that. I'm not going to say we know they're your fingerprints generally, because if you're innocent, but we think you might still have information, that's just going to kill it. I know there's a question that I got yesterday, which was, can I say that my buddy who's being interviewed or interrogated in the room next door is squealing like a pig and telling the whole story? Yes. I generally wouldn't say, oh, your buddy's ratting on you and he's saying you did it. I might say, hey, the investigator I work with is working on your buddy right now. They're talking. Okay. In 5 minutes, we're going to exit the room. We're going to talk to each other. We're going to compare notes. Your stories don't add up. That's going to be a problem. You haven't talked to me much. So if he's saying more than you are, and he's painting you in a bad light, and I come back in here, guess what? I'm probably not going to be on your side. And sure, we can keep talking about it and how innocent you are, but it's going to be one heck of an uphill battle. But if you tell me what you know now, and I go out there, and we can establish that it's not entirely your fault, or maybe we just end this whole thing now and you tell us the truth, fantastic. But I promise you, your buddy's talking. It's probably not going to go well for you. And then I'll go outside. We'll just rub elbows, and maybe the guy was talking, maybe not. And I'll go in and I'll say something like, oh yeah, there's a lot you didn't tell me. Start. And I might go, I don't need you to talk. You're probably going to want to talk. I can walk out right now. If you have nothing to say to me right now, I'm done. I got everything I need from your buddy. I got everything I need for your buddy. And if you say you're done right now, and I want an answer, you say you're done right now, we'll end this right now. I'll put you back in handcuffs. We'll finish the processing. I'll release you to your unit. And then you get to find out what he said in a court of law during the Article 15 hearing, where there's a good chance you're going to be stripped of rank, pay, and possibly put in jail. You ever see the inside of a federal prison? The military ones? Okay, that might be about to change. No, you're done? All right, I'm done. A lot of people, a lot of hardened criminals know that if you're asking questions, it's because you want answers. The moment you don't need answers anymore, some people start to get real nervous. Now, that's a technique I wouldn't probably use unless I was getting nothing out of the guy, because I have to follow through with that threat of ending. Because if I don't, now my word means nothing, or what I say means nothing, and they'll just know that I'm lying about everything and I have nothing. It's a whole thing. It's tons of cat and mouse, tons of cat and mouse. So there's an example. It's hard to say, like, can you lie or can you not? It's so super specific to the situation and what's being said and what the crime is. Yes, lies can be told, but there are definite limits to it. Absolutely, there are limits. I cannot do anything. I cannot say anything that would elicit a false confession, but techniques like that. Sometimes shows do it right. Sometimes they don't. Deacon Fatal, thanks so much. Says, if you don't go off, it's basically this. What? I think I'm missing context of that. But thank you. All right. What else? Unforgiven Jerry asks, are there any questions that, as someone on the other side of the table, that are trap questions that could put you in a bad position if you are a person who just has to talk? Trap questions. Generally, yeah, sure, there are probably specific trap questions to get you to mess up. There are a lot of things like that for DUI, right? Like, you ask a question to see if someone struggles to answer. And honestly, if you're sober and you're being asked like crazy questions, and the officer might think you're drunk, you just don't answer the questions. Don't do the DUI. I don't want you to be committing DUI. I'm just saying, like, you probably shouldn't talk. An innocent person might actually just pause longer and be like, what? What's going on here? Whereas a drunk person might be like, I have to prove I'm not drunk. I'll answer that. I do have some trap questions I've identified, not used, but identified from videos I've seen of officers on the side of the road. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting way to, I see what he's doing. I didn't necessarily like to use that type of tactic because I'm not trying to get someone who's innocent. I don't like going down too far that deceptive route, although often you're allowed to. Regarding trap questions, it's often going to be, I'll say something, I'll make a statement that I either know to be false or I have a lot of information about, and I'm pretending I don't have a lot of information about, and I'll see how you answer. So if I say something that I know to be wrong, if I'm like helping you out with your story, like, oh, and then you went to the corner market, got it, oh, of course, and you go, oh, yep, that's when it happened, but I know you never went to the corner market, like, gotcha, right? Or if I say, oh, tell me about this thing. We're still waiting on some stuff. I don't know what happened, but I know all the details, and I'll just wait for you to mess up. It really depends on how involved I want to be in your story, given what your demeanor is, how involved I think you are, what the crime is. There's a whole. It's so hard to answer that question because it's like it 100% depends on the exact situation. But if you are a witness, for example, or if you're not involved at all, you probably don't have to worry about much. If you are worried about being dragged into something, you can give a statement and then decline to answer any follow-up questions. Just say, I'd like to give a statement. Give that statement and say, I'm done talking. I'm not going to answer any questions. Great. As long as your statement isn't incriminating, they're not going to ask anything that's going to get you in trouble. So if you're worried about that, that is an option you can take. Is, I'll do this, but on my terms. Now, maybe you want to answer some questions, maybe, but you don't know what they know. You don't know what they think, because maybe what you know and what they know are two different things that sort of indicate different stuff, you know? But yeah, that's about probably the best I can answer that question. Aaron asks, if you can't take anything an intoxicated person says, how do DUIs work? Because a DUI isn't getting you to confess to a crime, it's getting indicators that you are committing a crime. So you can ask questions. And the courts have ruled that because DUIs are so dangerous, asking certain questions are not actually incriminating, despite the fact that you might think, like, surely that would be incriminating. But the courts have ruled, no, given the circumstances, it's not unreasonable to ask where you're going, to ask all these. You don't have to answer those questions at all. You can say, don't. You don't don't even look at them. Just window down 2 inches, hand your ID. If they like, do you mind telling me what time it is without looking at the clock? Don't. There's no requirement for you to do that. They say step out of the vehicle. You're going to have to step out of the vehicle. And they say, I want you to take some standard field sobriety tests or SFSTs. You don't have to do that. They say blow into this device. You don't have to do that. Depending on your state. Check your state laws. Check your state laws. All right? Everywhere I've worked, you do not have to do that. Once you're in the station, having been arrested for DUI, that's when you have to blow into the device or lose your license for a year. I believe every state has that. But for DUI, it's less about what your answer is and more about determining whether or not the way you answer indicates intoxication. That one's kind of tricky, though. There is case law on that specifically to address it that goes into detail about why it isn't a violation of the Fifth Amendment. Yeah, that's a great question that I wish I could answer better. All right. Unforgiven Jerry asks, can a cop bring religion in to make you confess, even lie about his own beliefs? Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I had an agent I used to work with, and he used to be down in the Bible Belt. I want to say, what base? I want to say Polk. Could be wrong about that. Louisiana. Somewhere, maybe, is that technically the Bible Belt? I don't know. It's probably not. Anyway, wherever he worked, religion was the big thing. No, it wouldn't have been Polk. Doesn't matter. Maybe it was. Sorry. In my own head. And what he'd do, and by the way that your interrogation room is set up is actually really important. We might get into that in a second if we actually watch any of these videos, because you guys have such good questions. But what he'd do is he'd put a Bible behind his shoulder, basically on the wall, or a cross or something. I think he said Bible, but you could use a cross with Jesus. That's a pretty good one. And you can, the first part of the interrogation is often building rapport. You're like, oh, I see you got a Christian cross around your neck. What particular sect of Christianity are you? Oh, no way. Methodist? Oh, I grew up Methodist. I have to say that I kind of fell off that path. And weirdly, I started going more Catholic. My wife, right? She's Catholic, so she's been bringing me to church. And honestly, it's kind of nice to get back, huh? Yeah, I'm thinking of going more often. Really, it's nice to be part of that community. And speaking of communities, oh man, our community was rocked by an incident that I think you might be familiar with. Person did thing, like someone was assaulted. And that's what I want to talk to you about, because I think you might have some information. Because us as two God-fearing men of the community, who I want to make it better. I assume you want to make it better. You want to maintain and improve the community. Yeah. I think that together we can get to the bottom of this. And you don't have to help, but I feel like it'd be a pretty Christian thing to do. Figure this whole thing out. And maybe if somehow you were, you got in over your head, as a man of God myself, I do believe in forgiveness. I'm not here to be your enemy. But someone out there is hurt. And I think the best thing to do moving forward is get them the help they need. But we can't do that unless we figure out what happened. So I'm wondering if you're interested in talking to me about this. You are? Okay. Well, for your protection, I'm not going to pull the wool over your eyes. You seem like a good guy. Honestly, bringing in here, I think maybe you did something you regret, right? And this isn't say your Hail Marys, count the rosary, that sort of thing. It's a little bit more intense. Obviously, you know that this is a big deal. I'm not your enemy, but I do have a job to do, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. But to protect you, I have to advise you of your rights. So, do you understand you don't have to answer any questions? Cool. Initial here. Boom, 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 boom. And that's how I do that. Now, if I had the Bible on the wall, it's good, right? If I had the Bible on the wall, and I mean, I'm not saying these aren't things I don't believe. No, a lot of what I say comes from a real place. But I sure know when to put out the old ham, you know what I'm saying? But what I was being told by the agents, when someone lies, so a very religious person lies, they'll look at the cross or the Bible before they give an answer, because that reminds them that God is watching per their religion. I'm not saying that's the only, of course, that's not the only religion. It's just that that's the example that I have.
I used to use leading questions a lot. I guessing that is still a practice, and this is the tactic. Lol, well played.
Oh no, is that 20? Oh no, that's a coin flip. We'll get to that. But yeah, so that's the thing. That is absolutely a strategy. You absolutely can use religion. I mean, of course, there are limitations. You can't use it in such a way that would be shocking to the conscious and good nature or whatever. But yeah, you absolutely can bring religion into it, because it's not relevant to the crime generally. I mean, maybe it was a religious crime, sure, but like my religion is not relevant, and therefore I can say whatever I want generally. Where was I? Deacon, thank you so much, by the way. So use leading questions a lot. I guess that's still in practice. Yes. Leading questions are a thing. So yeah, sometimes I'll let them like, oh, and then you did, and then you went to, and then, after you did this, you went to this, right? The problem with that is you have to know. So there's leading questions, there's open-ended questions. Open-ended questions might be like, all right, well, tell me about this. And then you let them tell the story, and then you work in from there. But leading question is, your question is more like a statement. Like, and then you went to the gas station, you put money in the thing, correct? That might be considered a leading statement. Also, Deacon, thank you for becoming a member. The problem with that is if you're going to ask those leading questions, you do have to know the story pretty well, or what happened pretty well. Otherwise, you might just be giving them their story. Now, you can give them a story, and if they're being super agreeable, like, yeah, that is what happened. Yeah, that is what happened. You can start challenging them on the knowledge of what you just said and change up the story a little bit and see if they catch it. But like, different techniques require different continued techniques. So yes, no, that is absolutely a thing. But that's a coin flip, ladies and gentlemen. That's 20. Oh, why you gotta be this? Oh, it's a tails. Let me show you. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, that's a tail. That's a tail. All right, and I'm back. But Archangel for Truth says, that would never work on me, Blue Bacon. Which is why that's not the only technique. Shocking. Archangel for Truth, ladies and gentlemen, a guy who rarely knows what he's talking about, but always good to have him. Where was I? Dr. Nimrod, thanks so much, says, some sex to make you say hello to Dr. Nimrod. Hello to Dr. Nimrod. Also, hello, Dr. Nimrod. Thank you. What did we determine sec was? Was that the Swedish one? No. Hold on. It is sweet. Yeah. I remembered things. Yeah. Sorry, I feel good about that because I definitely thought it was wrong again. Let's see. Any other questions? Oh, John Coyote says, how do you handle when a person seems to have a lot of details about something? That depends on the details. If it's like, I have a lot of specific knowledge about this crime, I'm going to ask why they have specific knowledge. And I'm going to make a note. Now, just because you have a lot of information does not mean you are, Joshua, you jerk. Thank you, though. I'll get to that. He'll read it. Doesn't mean that they did it, but that is
the
often...
The next chip you make, you have to do your best impression of either Julia Childs or Gordon
I can
Ramsay.
do Julia Childs. Let's need more butter. Let me actually listen to her. Stand by. Nope. While I'm doing this, what was I saying? What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you'd make a note of that and be like, that seems weird. Doesn't mean that you're going to charge them with the crime, but if you got nothing else, that might get them to the sort of the top of your suspect list. Well, the suspect list isn't really that important unless you actually have evidence. It just sort of is an indicator of where to go. So anytime you have a case, you document everybody you got to talk to. All the things you have to do, who you have to interview, what doors you got to knock on. Are there cameras? Grab them. And so then you'll send out the emails to get stuff in the works immediately. You notate all of that, and then you start calling people and saying we need to schedule something. Nice thing about being a soldier is that they can't say no if they're a soldier. If we wanted to bring a soldier in for questioning, they literally could not say no. Now, you as a civilian, you can often say no. Depends on the situation. I can tell you, like, they can never bring you in. But you as a civilian have a lot more options than the soldiers did, because they literally were required to. It was so good. Julia Childs. Let me listen to the voice a little bit.
Apple tart, I want to give a little flavor.
Apple tart. Okay, we're getting there.
Tripled in volume.
I sort of got a sort of a Julia Child. That's not bad.
It shrinks a little bit from the size of the pen.
A little bit of a okay. There's kind of back here.
If necessary, take a little knife and run carefully all around.
Carefully around. It's okay. My Julia Child's going to be not Julia Child, but it's going to be close enough. That's good enough for me. All right. That was a coin flip, though, wasn't it? Julia Child. We have to, because I want to make her British for some reason, but she's not. So, all right. Where's the coin? I'll show you. It's fine. That's head. That's head. All right, Julia Child. Let me just angle this. We'll use the rest of this. Habanero is what it is. Yes. I'm going to cut off the stem. And try not to slice my fingers. They're already damaged enough. You know. Not a good cut, but a cut is a cut. You know what? We don't even need to make this too. It's fine. It is. Look. It's. You don't. Oh, there's a lot of seeds. It's going to be very hot. It's right. You know what? Like that. Now this time, just put a little salsa on there. It's good. It's good salsa. It's good salsa. Just right there. We're going to fill the interior with a little hot sauce. Just a little. We put too much on last time, but this time we'll be fine. We sprinkle it. A little bit of the devil's spit. It's me in the morning. Some horseradish, just to really make it worse. It's me in the evening. I will not elaborate. All right, let me answer it because I'm just delaying. Deacon, thank you so much. Says most of my stops are DUIs and or DVs. I did a lot of DV investigation, which is why I did a lot of interrogation because, oh boy. And it's not like you're like, oh yeah, in your military base, oh, soldiers beating up soldiers. Like, no, actually, a lot of them were the spouses beating up the soldiers, and the soldiers knew enough to just like walk away, but then report it because like that's why I have a bruise on my face. Because the commander's like, why do you have a bruise on your face? My wife punched me. My husband punched me. Okay, cool. Go to the MPs right now. And then we have to take the report and do, of course. Now, sometimes it was soldier on soldier, sometimes it was soldier on civilian, sometimes civilian soldier, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Females beat men beat females. It happens. Being in the military is stressful, not only for you, but for your family. It can be. So sometimes things happen. And people think domestic, and they think, oh, beating people up. It could be as simple as smacking a hand. I mean, you're probably not going to get much of a charge for that, but in some places, like even after the incident is over, and a lot of it's just like, it wasn't even domestic assault, it was just domestic incident. What was it called? Some sort of like domestic altercation. We had a phrase for it. The soldiers still had to like leave the house and go to the barracks for 3 days. It was a whole thing. That I could discuss that if you guys wanted. Let me know. But in some places, I think Washington State might be one of these places. We did not do it this way, but like even after the incident is over, if you threw a shoe at a wall, if you're just like, oh, I'm so angry, and it can be linked. And you did that because you were angry about an argument you had. In some places, that is still domestic assault, which I disagree with to an extent. If they're like in the same room and they were like afraid that you might throw something at them next, okay, I can see how that would meet the elements. But like they're not even in the house anymore. I've heard stories from officers, so like this doesn't make sense. And I have some questions, and I'd love to talk to people about it and sort of go back and forth and why that would be how it should be. But I mean, don't beat your spouse or your family or whatever. Obviously, be nice to them. Don't get into these fights, don't yelling matches. Like, don't. Just walk away if you have to. But at the same time, there's some things that are charged. I'm like, I don't think that's right. But that's my personal opinion. You know, it's not my place to decide what is or is not necessarily domestic assault. It's the will of the people who elect individuals who create the laws. So I am a believer that in a lot of cases, the officer should not be the one to decide whether or not something should be a law. I mean, minor stuff, yeah, you got officer discretion. Bigger stuff, no. That's not their job, and I don't think it should be their job. But I have a thing to eat, and I really don't want to. Got my jug of milk ready. Arash, hey, good to have you here. Thanks so much. How are you? Less spicy, less sauce. That's good. Also, I'm probably used to it by now. I think half of my taste buds are dead. Spicy. Oh, Jerry, you have some great questions. We might not even get to a video. Just hold on. Okay, just hit. I'm pretty happy with that, Julia. Having listened to 5 seconds of her speaking. Our Lord and Savior. It's the first one that's come up. Thank you, Judy. Yes. Oh yeah, Arash didn't show up because I was here in this view, which doesn't have that set up. I'm given Jerry asks. Turning red again. Can interrogation happen at any time during your arrest process? How many times must you be Mirandized? Technically, well, actually, that's a good question. So, this will depend on the department and their policies. And I learned this during a DUI stop. I brought somebody in for DUI, and I was asked, so why on this packet? So we had a packet. It was a DUI packet, and you fill it all out. So you make sure you do everything perfectly. DUI is very hard to actually get a solid prosecution on, a solid conviction. There's so many things that could go wrong. I say go wrong, like so many things that a defense attorney could pick apart. So it has to be perfect. If you get hit with a DUI, by the way, you probably want an attorney because they'll generally get it. You to get a plea deal for something much lower, you do not want a DUI in your record. I'm not saying here's how to get away with a DUI. Do not drink and drive. Do not. But I'll tell you the dirty little secrets officers don't want you to know. Because you deserve to know them. You are a civilian. You should know your rights. You should know how to protect yourself. From me. I don't care if it makes my job more difficult. I'd rather have everyone know what they can or cannot do than, make everything super easy. So, the moment you're in my custody, even out of custody, I can ask questions anytime. But if you're in my custody and those questions might be incriminating, that's technically interrogation, regardless of whether or not I'm in an interrogation room, right? If you're in the back of my patrol car, I'm like, oh, so why do you punch her in the face? Nope. I have to Mirandize you. So, oftentimes, police will Mirandize immediately just to cover the bases. They are not required to. A lot of people get this wrong. Police are not required to Mirandize you. You can go from arrest to conviction or not conviction without being Mirandized at all. It just means that you were never asked potentially incriminating questions while in police custody. Yeah. But just in case someone starts saying something, you want to ask a question to clarify, maybe, oops, my question just slipped out. Oftentimes it's not a bad procedure to Mirandize immediately. You also have things like spontaneous utterances, and that can get a little tricky where you didn't ask a question, but they're still saying incriminating things. Some departments, I believe, say, like, don't let them do that, but, like, technically, you don't have to stop them. If you start just, like, confessing, I don't have to stop you. I don't have to Mirandize you. But a defense attorney will address it and go, why do they start doing it? What did you do to inspire that? Blah, 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 blah. But the reason why I learned this with a DUI is because I didn't Mirandize someone until bringing them to the station. They're going to the pack. I'm like, why didn't you do that? Appreciate it. Thank you. Let me finish my rant and then I'll address some of the super chats. You guys are the best. Thank you for being here on a Wednesday, by the way. Like, what a weird time for me to do this. I just was like, oh, such a good question being asked yesterday by Unforgiven Cherry. I think it was Unforgiven Cherry. I'm like, I gotta answer these because these are. I think I should put this out into the world, and I think in the future I might like do dedicated videos to it that are actually like organized. But I can use this to sort of come up with how I want to do that. The problem is it's tricky because it's so situation dependent, which is why I like doing it in more of a conversation where I can go over a ton of stuff. So I'm trying to get back to where I was. Yeah. So they were like, why didn't you? It says right here you have to Mirandize him. Oh, well, didn't see that because I don't have to Mirandize him. I don't. It's in the packet. They're going to ask why you didn't do it. I'm like, okay, well, I'll write a little supplemental report to explain why I didn't. It's really easy. Ready? Because I said nothing to the guy. I got him here, and then he was Mirandized. Not because we plan on asking him any questions, just because I do it in the station. Because I don't talk to them in the car. Unless it's like, are you comfortable? Do you want the radio station changed, etc.? I shut my gosh darn mouth because I don't want to get in trouble. If I'm getting answers, if I'm getting information, I want to have like a pen and paper ready. I can't do that while I'm driving. And we don't have cameras. We didn't have cameras in our vehicles. A lot of police officers, or a lot of police vehicles have the cameras facing the back, so everything is recorded. Hooray. We didn't have that. So I'm not going to try to get you to give me any information when I am unable to record it. Because then anything I write down is going to get challenged for accuracy after the fact. Like, oh, you didn't write it down when he was saying it. How do you know that's what he said? Throw it out. It's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that you do as a police officer, you have to understand how it works in court because you want to know what the defense attorney is going to do with it. And that will actually really, really help you do your job really well. If you're doing your job really well, defense attorney isn't going to be able to do much. But if you understand what the defense attorney is going to try to do, you understand what you should not be doing, it's fantastic. That's the mentality to have. It's like, what? Why is this a thing? Because the defense attorney will tear it apart like this. I love trying to tear apart this stuff. I love playing defense attorney and being like, all right, if I were trying to tear apart my case, what would I target? Great. I got to really strengthen that and dot my I's, cross my T's, make sure it's perfect. I wanted my stuff to be really good. But, yeah, so I got away with that one, the DUI, because I was able to talk my way out of it because I knew what the hell I was doing. They said, don't, like, do it next time. You got it. Like, I don't want to have this conversation a second time. So, obviously. Yeah, it's a thing. I mean, you can Mirandize them a million times. But generally, it's not a bad idea to do it when you first arrest them, just to get out of the way. If I bring you into a interrogation room for interrogation, I'm going to do it again. I don't care if it's already been done. I'm going to do it again. If it's change the location, I'm going to do it. Because it can be argued, well, did he remember? Did she remember? Sorry, I'm using a lot of he. It's just, I'm used to it being male because statistically in the military, it's usually males. Statistics, I'm not trying to be sexist. Women can be terrible people too. So, sorry, Rennie. You're great, though. You're exception to the rule. Don't read into it. Not you, Rennie, just in general. Don't worry. I'm digging myself a hole. I mean, you could just do it once. You could just do it once, but often good practice to do it multiple times if there's a location change, just to avoid the defense trying to get rid of the if there's a confession, like the defense is trying to get rid of it's going to try to get rid of that confession because that's the worst evidence against their client. They want to get rid of that generally. So more Miranda is good. Miranda. Zizing. Yeah. That'll be the Rainy says, quit while you're ahead. It's too late, Rainy. It's too late. Yeah, there you go. That's an answer. That's not a great answer. It's an answer. Arash, thank you so much, by the way. I miss you too. Like, it's good to have you here, though. It's good to have you pop in. Like, even if we only see you every once in a while, it's always a good time. Iceblade, thanks so much, says, if Chille committed assault off camera, and you are the person interrogating him, how would you go about interrogating an alpha male like him? I wouldn't. I would never. He's too alpha. I would just push right out of the room. I'll get to that in a second, but I missed the super chat. Deacon, thank you, says, can you explain concurrent jurisdiction from state and federal grounds for the viewers? Concurrent jurisdiction is when multiple jurisdictions overlap, if that makes sense. We had concurrent jurisdiction on base, or there was concurrent jurisdiction on base. So we're technically federal, like MPs are technically federal officers. We don't go through FLETC, like a civilian federal officer would, and some other officers would. But we do have our own training. We have, basic training, and generally that's just military stuff, but not some of the military stuff is in the context of law enforcement. And then you have your AIT side of things, which is your law enforcement stuff. Technically, it's all OSUT, which is one station unit training. So it's all, instead of basic and then AIT, it's actually just one long thing. And there is a little bit of overlap and sort of interwoven, whatever. Then after that, once you're done with that, generally you go to your installation and you get additional training. You go through like another school. And so for example, because it's freshest in my brain, for JBLM, you have P3 Alpha, although I think they renamed it since I left. I don't know. I got to train some people and it was really fun. When they're doing their domestic violence training, they called us and I was always like, send me, because I would give them real world scenarios that I'd been through that were like super complicated. Not so they get it right, but to get them thinking and to see where they would go wrong and like where they would freeze up. And then I could address that. And sometimes I try to make them laugh. I'm like, oh, me and my husband, because you can't laugh. You can't. You're not allowed to laugh at a serious incident. You can laugh when it's not serious. You can, have fun with the guy. He's like, oh man, like a raccoon stole my trash. You can have a good laugh about that. But if someone's like, I was punched in the face by my effeminate lover, you can't laugh. And so sometimes I do that. And they would laugh. And I would knife hand the bejesus out of them. Afterwards. In the moment, I'd get in their face, you think that's funny? And they, no, sir? I was like, yeah, I would make them regret laughing. Is what I would do. And I loved it. It was so much fun. These poor little privates usually. Oh. Or if, like, they send you through every so often. They'll put you back through the school. If you stay on a base, if you're locked to that base, they'll put you through it again just as a refresher. But generally, every time you move, you'll go through another one of these classes to get you familiarized with the laws that you're going to encounter at that state, and then get you recertified like OC, spraying taser, or whatever. So MPs actually get a lot of training, not as much as a lot of civilian officers, but like it's good training. We deal with a lot less. So there are certain things that are cut out. There's a whole thing. I mean, I could talk for like 20 minutes just on the differences in training. But sorry, off topic. Concurrent jurisdiction. So we're federal. But if the state wants to chase someone onto our property, we let them. We have granted them jurisdiction on that federal property for various whatever. And because it's technically state and federal jurisdiction, it's considered concurrent jurisdiction. So you can't go on base to escape the local police, because they can follow you on, and we'll let them. They'll call us up. They'll call dispatch, and they'll say, dispatch, contact JBLM, Madigan Gate. Let them know we're coming through right now. Lights and sirens. Copy, and they'll let us know. and whoever's working the gate will get that information. So yeah, I mean, that's basically concurrent jurisdiction right there. It's just sort of overlapping jurisdictional boundaries for different agencies, generally often like state and then federal, although not necessarily. But all right, so Chille, if I was interrogating Chille, I'd relate to him. I wouldn't challenge him. It would be, oh my God, dude, the gym? Yeah, oh yeah, I was in the military. I was working all the time. That's a lie, by the way. I was this, but skinnier. Not in a bad way. I wasn't like not fit, but I wasn't bulky. I was enough. That's what I was. I was just, oh, women, am I right? Ugh. You can't live with them, you can't live without them. I would just butter him up. I would make it all about him. I would appeal to his ego like you wouldn't believe. And everything he had done, I'd be like, oh, she deserved it though, huh? Oh, she was Chille. Chille, listen. She was following you, dude. I get that. She was following you around. Why would she follow you around if she didn't want? If she wasn't up to something, right? God. Now you have to be careful. You can't take this too far. She's following you around. She's getting real close, wasn't she? Obviously, you want space, and she did it enough that any person's gonna throw an elbow. I get that. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong. But if right now she has reported this to us, if you want to turn this back on her, we're going to need to know what happened. I don't like her either. Okay, lies. I don't like her either. God, look at her. She thinks she can be in your presence. She thinks she's good enough to bask in the shadow that you cast from that towering presence you provide. No, we can't allow that. Tell me what happened. And I would just appeal. Oh, I would just appeal to his ego like that. And let me tell you, that works. I can't promise you it would work for him, but I've done it before on people like him, and they eat it up. God, it's so good. One more coin flip. No. What? No. Sorry. Just saw the comment. I have another. Who? What? Which one did I miss? The 20 sec isn't, if that's what you're thinking, that's not the correct currency. That doesn't add up. That does not add up to $20. And Deacon brings up a really good point. Deacon's Angel brings up a really good point. You have to be able to read the person first. So there are like generic techniques that you might start with, but you want to know a thing or two about this person. If you know a bit about their background, if you know what they're like, I don't like to bring in the subject first. I like to talk to the people who might know him, who might be witnesses first. Get as much information as I can within reason so that I can compare to the story and so that I can also figure out what kind of person this is. You don't want to go into these blind. Sometimes you have to. I've gone into interrogations blind, not knowing anything about the person. And you really have to be on the balls of your feet for that. Of course, others agree that I have another coin flip. They want to see me eat it. All right. All right. I don't know. I'll eat one more, and then let's watch a little bit of an interrogation. I don't know if Jerry provided an interrogation. While I'm doing this, Jerry, if you want to put that in the chat, and Rennie will hopefully look for it if you're still here. But yeah, so he would make a great DM for D&D. Fuck me. You know what? I've never DM'd. I kind of wouldn't hate the idea of. I just don't know enough of like the how to do it. I feel like I can have a lot of fun with it. I don't know enough. I really should get back into D&D. I played D&D like when I was a teenager twice, like very short sessions, and I thought it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You play it with the right crowd, it's a lot of fun. I would never hate on it. Oh, fine, Dr. Nimrod. Thank you, by the way. Dr. Nimrod says, but sex is better than its value. Coin flip. Jerry has another question. All right, let me do. I don't see Jerry's other question. Oh, Chad, was that you? I saw it got ordered and it was being sent to Ohio. I didn't know it was you. Oh, I'm so excited you got that. Thank you. Yeah. So, sorry, I have some merchandise, some whatever t-shirts or whatever. It should be in the description of this video, maybe. I'm not sure. It's places, and there's a shirt I made, and Chad apparently ordered it, and I'm so excited to get the email. Like, someone got this. Someone in Ohio. Ooh, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Oh, my stomach's gonna be so mad. All right. All right. All right. All right. Oh no, Rennie, I already did the religion one. I already said that. I already answered that. And it was a really good question, though. So I'll answer it again. Yes, they can bring religion. That was a good question. You guys, great questions about this. I'm really glad I can help you with it. I can explain some things from the perspective of someone who's actually done it a while ago. Welcome to Blvd. We are having a good time. I don't know how to do a French accent, so I'll just be very offensive. Wait, I forgot we haven't done the coin flip yet. Why am I doing it? What am I doing? Crazy, man. I do the coin flip first. I was just like resigned to doing it. Where's the merch? I should be in the video description. It might not be. Sometimes the description for these videos doesn't descript. It's fine. Cooper Media says this guy probably has 40 combined hours interrogation. Think he's an expert. So I was counter narcotics with CID, and I was general crimes with MPI in the Army. Did a lot of this stuff. Now, you can feel free to believe that I don't know what I'm talking about. Go do your own research. It's fine. I am a subject matter expert. I have testified in court. I have put people in jail. And I've interrogated a lot of people. I'm not the most experienced, but I've probably done it more than you. No hard feelings, though. I understand the skepticism. I actually have one of my cases right here. Well, one of my case files, my folders. I kept it because it's useful to have folders. Doesn't matter. Anyway. The merch is in the chat. All right. Whew. That is Tails. That is Tails, ladies and gentlemen. Now you know I'm not cheating. That's a Tails. Anyway. All right. Unforgiven Jerry says, can a cop lie about the consequences of the crime, such as if it's a felony time in jail or a fine? Ooh. I mean, they can get it wrong. Intentionally misrepresenting what the crime is. Generally, no. When, at least not for us, I mean, I can be like, it's super serious if it's not, but I can't tell you it's a felony if it's not. When we advise you of your rights, we had paper that we had you sign. And that way, if the defense attorney is like, you did, who knows if you really did it? Like, there's things where they initial after everything. That's part of the MP training is we don't get a lot of the constitutional law training that a lot of civilian officers do. I know in this area, civilian officers get constitutional law training. It's actually pretty nuts. I've been talking to some of them. Some of my friends went that route, and they're like, wow, look at all I'm learning. Which is why it was so important to me to read up on that on my own. Like, get the books, watch the videos, like actually look this stuff up, not whatever Chille was doing. And read ton of case law. And thank goodness I had the opportunity to talk to so many attorneys when I was in the Army, because every investigation I had to talk to them about it, because I would just bounce things off them and say, can you explain this? And we would, back in Germany, we had a captain, God, I forget what his name was. The best. We would just sit down and he would just be like, well, let me explain this to you. Such a good guy. I wonder what he's doing now. Anyway, sorry. Reminiscing. But on that piece of paper, and I can't speak for civilian agencies, we did this because we didn't get a lot of the training, so we sort of replaced it with tons of paperwork. Because all that constitutional training sort of helps you stay out of trouble. And our paperwork helps us stay out of trouble. Because if we do something wrong, that's like, oh, that's a violation, whatever, that defense attorney's going to tear it apart. Also a violation of rights. But if we just follow the paper, for anything that gets complicated, problem solved. It's just like reading off a list. It's like, I can't bake a cake, but I can with a recipe. It's like that. So that replaces some of the training, not all of the training, just some of like the really complicated stuff. When I went through MPI school, we got a lot of the training that is not given to a lot of MPs, because if MPs are dealing with, for example, like domestic assault, we get called in. Anything like, there are levels of officers that respond, or of whatever, because we're not officers, we're military police. Officer implies military officers, a whole complicated thing. Military police soldier. We what we put on the paper is what the crime that we want to talk to you about, right? So if you're being charged with assault, I put down assault because I say, we want to talk to you about this. Do you understand? I'm not really going to tell you misdemeanor, felony. I will sort of, it's really serious or it's not really serious, depending on how I want it to be. But a lot of people misunderstand what a felony is versus what, like, and then they confuse it with a federal crime. A lot of people think felony is federal crime when it's not. Felony is just anything over a year in jail as a punishment. Anything that could be over a year in jail as a punishment. It's a whole thing. Rennie is saying that an officer she often communicates with is saying they never say what kind of crime it is as regards to misdemeanor, felony, infraction, whatever, because the DA could change how it's charged. And that is an excellent point. Yeah, I don't know that I ever really went into it's a misdemeanor, it's a felony, because that really locks me into an approach. I want to be able to say it's a big deal or it's not a big deal, but that leaves my options for the interrogation open way, way more. But I would argue strongly against it if an officer is like, I'm going to lie about if it's a felony misdemeanor. I would not. I would suggest not doing that. I wouldn't tell them what the potential punishment was, because what do I know? I'm not the person charging them. So I might, in a certain circumstance, be like, look, here's what we're talking about. Let me show you what this could be charged at. It could be. I'm not saying you will be, but it could be. I'm not the prosecutor. I'm not making the decision. That's about as close to that as I'll go, though. For sure. But let's look at interrogation. Let me see what I can identify for you guys as interesting. What do I want? What do I want? What a psychopath looks like. Oh. All right, this is from Explore With Us. I forgot I had this tab. I think there will be commentary. I'm not trying to steal anything from Explore With Us. If you like what you're seeing from them, go subscribe to them. Explore With Us. I'm not trying to steal from you. I'm so sorry. I don't have the original video, though. So, Cooper Media asked, can I open request your interrogation videos? I doubt it, because they probably don't exist anymore. Because see, the felony crime ones, I don't even know if the military would release those. And the misdemeanor ones, if there was a video, would not still exist. What, 3 years, 5 years? And you can try. I'm not giving you a name to do it. You can try. Good luck. I'm not saying you couldn't. I don't think you'd have much luck, though. That's a fun question, though. Are those released? I don't know. All right, let's see what a psychopath looks like. I'm going to identify anything that I think is interesting. Haven't seen this video.
I never wanted to hurt my sister.
Yeah, okay.
I just wanted to protect her from. That's it. But if you want to hear how she died, I don't know.
Okay. Was she laying on the ground?
Yes.
All right, first thing I want to point out to you is the layout of this room. So, guys in the back corner, that means back here, remember the back, you know what? I can do this with food. All right. So we have. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. I think so. Here's our suspect. We've got Interrogator 1 asking the questions, and Interrogator 2 taking notes. That's not super uncommon because it can be hard to be really on top of stuff and taking notes at the same time. If it's a serious crime, you will often have that kind of situation. For anything that's not that serious, we can take a slower pace. You might not have to, but this is, I guess, murder. So this is going to be a serious one. I don't know anything, about this. But that's the situation right there. That's the setup. You'll notice there's not a table between him and either of them. That is very intentional. Yeah, there's this little corner. That's often what you'll see. But when you have a table between you and the suspect, it creates sort of a psychological barrier. They're like, oh, I'm so protected. Haha. But you remove that table. You either use the corner or you sort of take it away entirely. You can get closer to them. You can back away from them. They don't have that sort of psychological mindset of like, oh, there's a physical barrier to protect me for whatever, like protect you against what? I don't know, but your brain does that. It allows you to use the space much more effectively, which is why I sort of cringe when I see TV shows where it's like there's a table between you. That's often not how it works. Look how boring and bland this room is. Look how well lit it is. That's often what they'll look like. I don't see a mirror. Not everyone will have a mirror, but there are cameras. So why do you need a mirror if there are cameras, right? I'm not supposed to tell you this. We used a baby monitor. We had a camera. Do I reveal all the secrets? It's there, public knowledge. We had a camera. We had a camera disguised as a thermostat. Yeah. The main camera, there'll be a very visible camera often, and then there'll be a not visible little pinhole camera. And then we had a baby monitor. And that was in case you started screaming for help. If we're like, I'm busy, I can't be watching through the mirror. Or you are watching through the mirror, but you're still like working on case at the same time. But you're watching through the mirror to make sure like everyone stays safe more than anything else because it's being recorded generally. And so we just found that a baby monitor was a cheaper and more effective method of monitoring the situation. And if you needed to step out of the monitoring room, you just get a little portable one. You take it with you, and then you just sort of listen. If you hear screaming, which I don't think ever happened, but just in case, right? You don't want to leave them in a room alone with someone who maybe committed murder in this case, for example. Let me move my thing over so I can keep tabs on the chat. So anyway, speaking of, the door is back here. And that's often pretty common. You don't want the door, you want the door somewhere, either in their view or their peripherals, because if someone starts to get nervous, they'll often start turning towards the door or looking at the door, and that's an indicator that they want to leave. They want to exit. That can mean a lot of things. It doesn't mean guilty necessarily, but if you're going down a certain line of questioning and they start giving that kind of body language, that tells you a few things. Depending on the situation, the question, it can tell you what it tells you is not always the same per the circumstance. I always like having that door sort of off to the side because right now, like he's pointing at the door automatically. So you're not going to notice a body shift towards the door quite as much. You might start noticing him look, but it's not always that obvious. But that room's not really great to have a different setup. I'd probably have it set up so the chair was facing that table. Let me show you. Facing the table. And maybe the guy rotated it out. But I'd at least want to start it facing that way. Because if he didn't decide to move it, then you'd have some really good body language potential. Also, this guy right here, a lot of the times, one of the sort of the standard recommendations is put the guy asking the questions in a chair with wheels so that you can move closer, farther away, and work with the emotional climate of the room a lot better. We see that he is not using a chair with that. It's not like it's required. It's a more advanced tactic anyway, so it probably isn't really that important, but Tenkai thinks so much as, yar, me matey, I be black Black-eared. I assume you mean Blackbeard. Yeah, that's a thing. So, yeah. I mean, that right there behind him, that might have a pinhole camera in it. I don't know. That might be a tissue box, or that could be the monitor. Hard to tell with this resolution, because you don't need fantastic resolution. You just need good enough, which is generally what you'll find in these kind of things.
And
So you told her to lay down?
right, and she was fully conscious, and she was talking to me during it.
We notice immediately, looks like there's some red on his jeans. That might be relevant to this. Again, I have no idea what this is about.
If I tell you this down, I mean, you're recording this, I don't have to say it in court or anything, right?
I don't know that for sure.
Good answer. Good answer.
I mean, I really don't want to, like, talk about this that much.
18-year-old Keith Randulate.
I might say, like, I can't, the court's out of my hands. I don't, that's going to be something for you to talk to a defense attorney about. But it's possible, you know. But yeah, there's not really much else you can say other than, I don't know. Because you can't say yes or no. Because that might be considered a promise, and you might be wrong, right? He doesn't know.
Made a short but harrowing call to 911 on May 22nd, 2009.
God, that voice, though.
When the dispatcher answered, Keith said simply, "Come over quick," and hung up. A few minutes later, he called back and this time said, "Get over here."
Get over here. Okay.
Before he once again put down the phone.
Dispatcher can be very curious.
Keith was urgently calling for help because his little sister lay dying in the basement.
Oh.
After calling, he stood looking out the windows of the home where he lived with his mother, stepfather, 2 brothers, and little sister, anxiously waiting for the emergency services to arrive. When he didn't see any flashing lights, he made a third call to 911. But this call was even more chilling than the previous 2. When the police arrived at 7:54 p.m., Keith was standing at the front door to greet them. He was covered in blood.
That would explain the red on the jeans or the pants.
It was all over his pants, socks, sweatshirt, as well as
Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this might get a little graphic. I, again, have not seen this.
his face and hands. When police struggled to find the injured little girl, they asked Keith where she was, and he quickly told them, in the basement. Keith's
I mean, I feel like that's something you want to ask immediately before searching.
16-year-old brother had been playing video games upstairs in his room. He had no idea that a horrific incident had just occurred in the home.
Oh, one of these days I'll have to give you guys a class on crime scene photography. It's nuts. Anyway, not today, not today.
That is, until he saw the flashing lights from the police cars as they pulled up.
Stephen King. Oh, okay, might be relevant.
He then came down and asked what was going on. Officers ordered both boys to get on the ground, and they were handcuffed and searched for weapons.
That's fair, that's allowed.
Neither had any on them, but Keith told the police that it's in the room with her. The child, 4-year-old Sabrina Clement, was found lying on her back in a pool of blood on the basement floor with wounds to her throat.
I gotta say, and I hate to be using so much of Explore With Us this video. Wow. What a presentation already. Go subscribe to Explore With Us. I'm sorry, Explore With Us. All right, household steak knife on the ground, wearing a multicolored shirt, pink and short socks, reporting music. Captions. Investigators all found seven red
stains on the kitchen floor, the sink, and the counter. The spots were already dry. They found a wall-mounted telephone covered in blood.
Checks
As
out.
well, the blood droplets were on the carpet and stairs leading down to the basement.
I mean, that tells you... doesn't tell you that he did it, but that he was at least there. I mean, could have been like, oh, I tried to save her. I don't know if this is going to be a good one because I want to try to catch him lying. Maybe next time. This won't be the only time we go over these things.
Keith and his brother were taken into custody to the Will County Sheriff's Office. Keith was quiet on the ride over, not speaking to any of the officers. At the station, Keith's brother...
The bloodstains. Are we talking about seeing the bloodstains? Sorry, chat. In these pictures, not immediately. There, looks like there's something there, maybe. Let me actually go through these. See what I noticed initially. All right, this is gonna be one of your establishing shots. All right, crime scene photography. We're gonna go over it. Take a picture of the outside of the house. Generally want something like a street. Sometimes I'll go all the way out to the street, get a picture of the street sign with the house there, and then a picture of the outside of the house, the entire house, and you'll have the address. You get to the door, which is what we see here. I'd probably want this person not to be there if I'm taking these pictures. We'd probably have everybody clear out, or at least like move out to the side if possible. And you just, every time you like move forward, you take a picture, and that way every single picture you take has a previous picture that shows the next picture. If that, so like you're going through the house, just once you get to like the edge of what you could see in the last picture, you take another picture, like just before you get to that edge. And that way you always can tell where that picture is in the context of everything else. Because you could take them like a puzzle and just sort of like, this is the order. We can tell, and it's just like, it's like Google Maps in a home, just like not 360. Although some departments with money do have little devices that they wheel in that do 360 video, and also like LiDAR scanning for 3D, like spatial mapping for distances and stuff.
Keith was standing at the front door to greet them.
So they're not going to show
was
all of
covered
that,
in
but
blood.
it will be
It
taken.
was all over his pants.
It looks like there might be something there. It's hard to tell because sometimes light sort of reflects off. Like we see the light reflecting off the, or being blocked by the blades of the fan. And like, oh, is that the light coming through the slats of the chair? I don't know. Without zooming in, it's hard to tell. That might be blood. I don't know. I mean, if it was the actual photo, I'd be able to like zoom in and check, but it's during a stream, so I'm not going to do that.
Well, they asked.
I'm not seeing anything here, but that's, again, as you're walking through the house, you're going to take pictures of where you're going. You're going to do I can't, like, it will be too long.
Your old brother had been playing video in the home.
We got marks on the wall here, but that looks like just touching the wall.
Upstairs in his room,
blood.
he saw the flashing lights. Officers ordered both
that was definitely taken to be like, did he do it because books?
boys to get on the ground. The police found lying.
Yeah, there is a mark right there, but
on her back and a
this is not
pool
where she
of
died.
blood on the basement floor with wounds.
But you do want pictures of all the rooms in the house if you can get them.
on the ground. A multi
right.
and red stain.
Music.
They
Red
found
stains.
floor.
Oh, okay, so the blood is blurred for you.
The telephone
Got
covered
it.
in blood. The blood drop.
All right, it looks like blood drop on the carpet.
Droplets were on the carpet and stairs leading down to the basement. The two teen boys keep quiet on the ride over, inferred from the station. Once officers determined he had no helpful knowledge about what happened, he was escorted from the station. But now, Keith was ready to talk.
Now we get
and
into the
no
good
one
stuff.
was prepared for the chilling and disturbing story he was about to tell. Due to the unsubstantiated nature of some of the accusations seen in this interrogation, portions have been omitted and summarized.
Nope, that's
the following interrogation has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed attorney.
I'll take all the fun from me, why don't you?
And a licensed.
All right.
You've been moved from the Mokina Police Department here. I have to ask you once again, did any police officers ever talk to you about
Russ Williams case in Canada. I have that up. I have that tab actually, but it's like 2.5 hours.
the
So.
incident that happened today
We use that in training.
so far? Ask you any questions on what happened.
Okay, wait, yes, I forgot to mention this.
Okay.
Right when I went in the car the first time.
Okay.
Okay. He's not. His body language is interesting. He has his hands here, which is a sort of a closed posture. But it's not too intense. He's communicating. His legs aren't indicating, like, they're not super closed. They're not super open. He looks, I wouldn't say closed off completely, or even close to closed off all that much. From initially, let me give you the picture again.
Not
watch
the
him
police
move.
officer in that car, but another police officer just.
And he's got the wrist movement. So this isn't just like, this is how my hands are, because I like having my hands like this, sure. But if I'm talking, I'll bring my hands out. When you're in a closed posture, you'll keep it closed, and sure, you might have some of that wrist movement. So yeah, closed posture on the top, but the bottom not so much. So I think he can be talked to. You don't have to do too much to open him up. And I think we'll see this, if we get that far. So I might end the stream. We're not going to watch the whole thing. But the posture doesn't tell me that things can't be accomplished. If he is under 18, you would need parental permission to do this. You need a guardian's permission to do this generally. And maybe they have it. I don't know. Was it in the U.S.? I don't know.
What was in your what was going through your blank mind?
Okay.
Right off the bat, Keith is cooperative with officers. He maintains eye contact and speaks clearly with them. His choice to not cuss in front of the officers could be a sign that he is compliant and feels a level
Oh, well, no, sorry. No,
of respect towards them.
But that's as much as.
That's all that. That's all that was asked. So
Okay, well, we'll do a little bit of this because there are clips from the Colonel Russell Williams thing that like very clearly show some stuff, and I really do. Because I don't know anything about this. I haven't watched this one, but if he's super cooperative, we're not going to get much of like, oh, this is him telling a lie.
Ask any particulars or anything like that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you need a water?
No.
No bathroom breaks?
No.
You're all good.
Standard questioning, because you don't want, if it's like, I'm too thirsty to keep talking. If they're distracted from the conversation, either because they're thirsty, they need the bathroom, that's going to hurt you in the long run. They might go get water, or they might just be like, I'm done talking because I'm too thirsty. I need a drink. And maybe if you stop, and then when you try to restart, they're like, nah, you know what? Decided not to.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Very good.
These
Harris
initial
Bennett
gentle
as well.
words and
I'll check
actions
that.
are done to build some level of trust and rapport with Keith in anticipation of the coming interrogation.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll be back in 1 second, okay?
Okay.
They're watching him when they leave, by the way. Someone's watching him on the camera.
Although some dismiss body language analysis as pseudoscience, it's used by the FBI.
I will clarify that statement. Body language analysis is not perfect. But I would never say guilty or innocent based on body language. What it is for me is an indicator that maybe I am on the right or wrong track. That's it. Same with like a polygraph. Polygraph can't even be admitted into court, but it's used to determine if we're on the right track.
And CIA during interrogations. When the CIA is interrogating an individual, they look for clusters of 3 or more indicators that occur in either quick succession or all at once. These indicators can be signs of discomfort or uncertainty in what the individual is stating, rather than indicators of deception. It's extremely important to note that you cannot detect deception through body language analysis alone.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
The way he holds his arms around his body, like he's hugging himself, is a self-soothing technique.
It can be. I generally look for, if I'm looking for self-soothing, rubbing. Rubbing is a super common self-soothing. Yeah, I mean, you could, because it's a close-off posture, and you could say it's self-soothing. Closing off is self-soothing. I'm not saying they're wrong. It's just not how I would think of it. They're probably right.
In a protective position.
Protective position. Okay. Yep.
Be an indication that Keith is uncomfortable, either with his current situation or with what has just occurred. He seems to be unintentionally trying to make himself look small or insignificant.
That's a fair point. Yep.
This could be a defense mechanism of trying to appear innocent.
Although he wasn't really doing this when he was talking to them as much, and now that there's nobody there, just some people just sort of hunker down because they got nothing else to do. So I think the body language isn't quite as important when there's nobody else in the room. There's no sort of stimulus that it's responding to. But that's me personally. I'm not writing books on this stuff. It's just from my own experience. I don't take much stock in if there's nobody in the room. Although people who are super experienced certainly could do a lot more with this than I could.
If he is smaller and talks softly, it is hard to imagine he could commit a horrific crime. The officers leave Keith alone in the interrogation room for over 11 minutes. The entire time, he remains almost totally motionless, staring down at the floor or at the red stains covering his pants.
Super uncommon. Where else are you going to look, right? There's nothing in the room.
Hi, Keith. I know I introduced myself back at the station, but if you didn't remember, I'm Detective Lothan, and I'm with the Mokina Police Department. Yes. And if you want to throughout the interview, call me Jason if you want, or Jay.
All right. Rapport. Simple reports. Hey, here's my name.
That's fine. Okay.
I know I'm an authority figure. I'm an adult, but like, hey, let's talk like buddies. That's not uncommon for people who are a bit younger. People who are a bit older, you can still do it, but it's not necessarily going to have the same impact.
You call Keith?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is Detective?
I'm Detective Trakey. I'm with the sheriff.
Wait.
Keith?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is Detective?
I'm Detective Trakey.
I don't know that he knew what the detective's name was, which sometimes happens. Sometimes you're paired with somebody. This kid looks a little new. I say kid. Like he looks...
I'm with the
younger. And he's just like, hey, I need someone to write notes. And so detective, the guy knows enough to instantly give his name though. Smart. But I've been in this situation where I'm like, I don't remember this guy's name. But good, that was well played. Deacon, thanks so much. Says, could it be he's in his own thoughts at the time when left alone? Absolutely. Absolutely. But innocent or not, you'll often see people just sort of, I see a lot of people just start taking a nap. But they're often soldiers, so, you know, sleep deprived, physically overworked, whatever. But like, you'll usually not see a guilty person just be like, you know, because an innocent person might be like, oh, I'm going to get out of here soon. Whereas a guilty person might be like, I'm going to be here for a while. Depends, but you can't make the determination just based on one thing. Like they said, oh, I'm so glad they brought that
The
up.
sheriff's office, that's why we came here.
Okay.
17 at the time. Got it.
Okay.
You
Perfect.
go to Lincoln Way?
Yes.
Okay.
East.
East?
Mhm.
Okay. What do you see
Volunteering information is a pretty good indicator that he's willing to talk.
here?
Yeah.
Getting ready to graduate?
Rapport building,
Was.
just starting a conversation about normal things.
You guys, when does school end?
The last day is like June 1st.
June 1st? Okay.
How you doing?
If just getting them, you'll see interrogations where it's like the goal is only to get them to engage in a conversation. That's it. That's all they want. Once that the conversation, once that conversation started, you're in. Now you have to still be careful, but if you can't create a conversation and hold it, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to get them to open up to you enough to at least converse. So having these conversations about nothing will tell you a lot. How conversational are they? This kid's volunteering information. That's a great sign. Probably don't have to push too hard. You can sort of lay back, let the information come to you. There's a big risk in pushing too hard. You never want to push too hard because people close up very quickly if you cross certain lines. And you don't know where that line is. Different for each person. So this is starting off really nice.
Doing in school.
I was gonna graduate. I mean, I had all A's, 1C in English, but
Yeah, it's cool.
I was fine, you know.
The officers start out with small talk, trying to build a rapport and comfort level with Keith. These kinds of easy questions can get a suspect to feel more comfortable talking before the officers move on to the more important questions. Already, Keith is using past tense when describing how he was going to graduate.
I missed that. I didn't even just reading your comments. I missed that. That's important. That tells us that he's already aware that it might be over for him. That he knows he did something wrong. Oh, that's big, actually. James, thanks so much. By the way, it says, would you have arranged the room differently if you're doing the questioning? I would have started with his chair, rotated 90 degrees clockwise, to see if he continued to point his feet towards the door. And that might be a pretty good indicator of a few things. But other than that, like, that room looks pretty standard right there. Yeah, too easy.
Huh. You take any classes or sports or anything?
No, but
No.
I mean,
You want that information? Oh, sports is such a good one. Oh, sports. In sports, you're a part of a team. And then you can use a team like, oh, you know what's great about being part of a team? Working together. Work with us. All right, it's longer, more elaborate than that. But like, sports is something I always try to grab onto. Also, the military. Most people did sports or continue to do sports. So it's such a good thing to grab onto.
yeah, I had a future, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't
Had,
do this
yep,
for no
okay.
reason.
Keith immediately acknowledges that he's done something without any denial. This shows
Too
that he's
easy.
aware there will be consequences for his actions.
Oh, I do kind of want to keep watching this. But I want something where the guy's like trying to fight and deny it. And we're going to go to the Colonel Russell Williams and we're just going to start somewhere in the middle. We're going to see what's up. Not that that one isn't great. Oh, what a solid video. I can't wait to watch that. But I don't think it's what I'm looking for today. I want to give you specific examples of things. Deacon, thanks so much. Says, okay, weren't his parents there? I know. I'm also wondering that. Maybe they already gave permission and they're like, I don't want to be there, but you can talk to him. I guess, because generally, yes, you were supposed to have the parents there or a legal guardian or a lawyer. somebody. Because generally, a juvenile is not expected to understand what their rights are upon being advised of them. So, yeah. All right. Let's see if we can. What Colonel Russell Williams, what we got there. So,
To see who that.
the big thing of this was the boots. Oh, you might have to go over this like a series, but we'll start. I mean, this is just the basic stream to start things off and sort of get a feel for what I want to do if I want to keep doing this.
Was or what?
Right now, immediately, closed posture. We see in the corner, his legs are open. His knees are open, but his ankles are crossed. That's still closed. And this, the room layout. Sorry, let me give you the room layout is perfect. The door's behind the guy, but not directly behind him. So if he's angling not towards the guy, because you'd expect when you're talking to someone to be angled towards the person. If you're angled a little bit off to his side, it's like you're angled towards the door. I'm not seeing a mirror here, but there are multiple cameras. So this top one's probably a very visible camera. This one right here, I don't know what this camera would have been. This might be the, I'm trying to figure out where that is. Or maybe this is the visible camera. I don't know. One of them is probably going to be a pinhole camera. That's something I see a lot of. Just like, oh, you know that camera's there, but like you don't know that camera's there. So if you're like, I'm hidden from this camera, you're not, because there's a second one. His ankles are crossed. He is pointing more towards the door than he is the interrogator. And I assume all the stuff on the table is probably evidence. Again, we're starting in the middle. I haven't seen this in ages. We mostly just use it for training for the defeated posture, which is if someone dips down, puts their head in their hands, you got them, right? I mean, you have to be careful, but like that's them making the decision to confess. Generally, like that's what you should interpret that as, and then you should proceed appropriately from there. But if someone's like this and then they just drop, that's them realizing they're not getting out of it and they should confess. That's what was taught anyway. I'm not saying it's always true, but you're going to want to look at it as if that's what's happening. Anyway, but yeah, the room layout looks great. Love it. It, again, brightly lit, pretty neutral colors, a lot of white, not like TV. This is what they look like. This is what they look like, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Sorry, I just had to do that. Oh, just Connie's upset that I'm taking my time.
What kind of vehicle?
Look, I'm just being thorough.
They were in everything.
Saw the lights and assumed it was her, and then all of a sudden they left, so I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Real quiet.
Where were you when that first vehicle pulled up?
In the back.
You'll often have real quiet. Like, where were you on the night? It doesn't work. Very like that. I mean, that is a tactic, but real quiet. Get them to lean in. Get them to get closer to you. Get more invested in it. They have to listen more. They have to open up more. You'll hear quiet is a lot more common than loud. Sorry.
Okay. So you didn't have a view of the vehicle. You could just tell that there was a vehicle there. Is that fair? Okay.
Feet are moving. And it might be in response to the detective moving. Sometimes you'll change positions just to see if the guy is mirroring you or girl. Because sometimes they'll mirror you to match you so that they get you to connect with them more, so that they are more believable, right? Like if I'm the investigator and I do this, and then the other person, well, blah, 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 and mirrors my posture, that's because they are trying to connect with me because they want me to be on their side. It's more complicated than that, but Deacon, no. Thank you so much, by the way. It'll read it. I'll keep going, and it'll return to it.
So you get home, what, 4:35, you say? Okay.
This is
I'm
Russell Williams,
curiosity,
yes.
can we
And then what
discuss
happened?
the officers' posters? Cause we do it also. This one is aggressive to me. Closed off.
Yeah, okay. So Deacon says, can we talk about the officers' postures? Aggressive, closed, sure. Yeah, and as sometimes interrogators don't really pay attention to their own posture, I do mostly in the context of seeing if they match my posture, but I'll try to keep it pretty open. If I think they're lying to me, I might close off. I am very, I try to pay attention to how I look because I want to be able to convey things to them. Not just verbally, but like posture tells a lot. And just, oh, you're lying to me? I'm not necessarily going to call them out, but you know that. And if they stop, if they react to that, that might tell me things. Depends on the reaction. Depends on what I'm reacting to. But that's a coin flip, ladies and gentlemen. Deacon, you jerk. That's tails. That's tails, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, thank God. See that? It's tails. So, Just Connie, no. I'm going to actually delay even more. We're going to go very slow. If you want to watch this out of the fact, so that you don't have to deal with me talking and explaining things and giving what I believe to be very good information, you can do that and skip forward. Or you can watch the original interview without my commentary. Okay. I'm doing this my way. I appreciate it. I understand that it might not be for everybody, but no way I do this will be for everybody. So I'm going to do it the way that I think works best for me, to impart the best knowledge to all of you. Notice that quietness? That's an interrogation voice. James, I maybe got your email. I'll have to check. I haven't gone through my email in a while. I'm sorry. All right, let's keep going.
Well, she just go to the bathroom.
I already don't like
And
a lot of a lot of Doesn't mean he's lying, but we're an hour and a half in. You'd think he'd know his statement by now. We're gonna keep going though.
shower, washer.
Are you asking a question or are you telling me?
Then we went into my bedroom.
It's like and then we went there, and then we did this, and that to me feels like he's creating a statement in his head, then saying it, then creating the next statement. It's like he's analyzing what he's about to say to make sure he's not saying anything incriminating, and then putting it out. That's an unusual way of speaking. It doesn't mean he's guilty, but it was something that would catch my attention and has caught my attention. Again, we're starting in the middle. I don't know what's happening. I don't have a comparison of his normal speaking, whatever. You know what? Let's get that. What's for 5?
I was on just after I got to the base.
Okay.
So I can't even remember. I think it was a one-day trip. But
Notice how different that is already. Much smoother, much faster. But now, an hour and a half in, we're going to skip forward farther than we were, because I'm going to try to give you the defeated posture maybe. It's a lot more broken up, because I think he knows he's in trouble, and that his statement is being picked apart, and so he has to be very careful. So,
Like earlier.
Devon's Angel asks, do you think he didn't plead the fifth because of ego? Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are like, I can get away with it. They say, oh, if I ask for a lawyer, I'm going to be there. It's going to look guilty. Nope. I mean, I might think that, but none of my investigation can indicate that. If I submit my report and it's like guilty because I asked for a lawyer, that whole investigation is getting thrown out. You have the right to an attorney, and therefore it's not incriminating if you ask for one. If you want an attorney, it's basically like, good choice. I don't care if you're innocent or not. Okay, good choice. I mean, you're already here. What do you have to lose by asking for an attorney? If you have evidence, if you want to make a statement, you can make it in court. You're going to get cross-examined, but you can make it in court. And there's a good chance it's not really going to hurt you if the first place it's heard is in court. We saw that with, love it or hate it, and politics aside. Who was the kid that shot the people in, was it Kenosha? Rittenhouse, Kyle Rittenhouse. I have my issues with that, and I understand why the ruling went the way it did. Yes, this is Canada, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, we didn't clarify that. This is Canada. A lot of the stuff is very similar. What we're going to be seeing. We used it in training, so I say it's close enough. But thank you, Rennie, for Rennie put that out. Kyle Rittenhouse, yes. In the hearing, I didn't watch much of it, but in the hearing, I think the attorney is like, you had the benefit of having your story heard first in this trial. You didn't give any interviews and whatever. And the judge got mad, rightfully so, because you have the right to not say things and to imply in front of the jury that he is wrong for exercising a constitutional right is a huge problem. If the first place your story is being heard is the courtroom, that honestly might be good. That might be fine. Because if your story changes, if you remember something, if you forget something, and your testimony in court is not the same, if you give testimony in court is not the same as the one you gave to the police, that could be bad for you. Because a prosecutor might take that to try to indicate that you were being untruthful. Well, at the time we interrogated him, we interviewed him. They probably wouldn't say interrogation. When we spoke to him, when he gave his statement, he said this. Now it's 3 months later. We really expect him to be giving accurate information now? Or do we assume that if there are differences, what he's saying now is less truthful because A, maybe he forgot, and B, he's had time to think about what changes he should make to his statement. Now, you'd have to be very
Bacon Bits
careful.
Live. Bougie, clapping hands.
That's coin flip. You have to be very careful with that, but that could be an argument that could be referred to, sort of, not referred to, but alluded to. I don't know. Irish Girl, though, thanks so much. Good to have you here. That's coin flip. Bougie. That's right. And we have a fun little. God, that's heads. All right. We're going to save that. That is heads, ladies and gentlemen. I'll show you. There it is. I don't have that yet. Yep, that's the old heads. Before we do that, I want to get to.
I took it off.
Yeah, that speech is so different. Let's see if we can get that defeated posture. I want to show you the moment. Then I'm going to eat the last thing, and then we're probably going to end the stream. I didn't expect the stream to go this long. But I was having so much fun. You guys asked such good questions. I think this is it. Is this the... Yeah.
Concerned for herself, I assured her I was not going to hurt her.
Oh, boy.
Physically, anyway.
There it is. That's someone who knows. And it sounds like what he's saying. I don't know what he's saying. Let's see if we can hear what he's saying. Hold on. He gets so much quieter. He knows. It's over.
Pulled her top down. And took off her pants. Took some pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the defeated posture.
And why are they in tweed?
I might at that point move in just a little bit. Just like he's defeated. You have to be very careful with it. Some people might use a physical contact outside of the knee. That's a risky play. Some people respond very poorly to that. But some people it is very effective when it works. Just that human connection. But risky play. There are very effective techniques that are very risky. High risk, high reward stuff.
As opposed to
Let's see if we see the detective move in.
The photographs you talked about being.
Oh, sorry. He starts walking around. I mean, you can't get much more of a nervous display than that. That's like alarm bells saying you're on the right track, bud.
On the first night you went in.
And this detective knows it.
And did you take photographs of that?
Yep.
What about anybody else's underwear?
Hands behind the back. Some people might say that subconsciously him saying, I don't really agree. Like, basically in his mind, he's already under arrest, so his brain is telling him to put hands back there. He's military, so maybe it's just sort of a posture saying, like, I am less than you. Could be a lot of things. People might say a lot of things. I wouldn't argue them in court, but hands behind the back, some people might take a lot of stock in.
Yep. Photos.
Leaning against the wall, he's bouncing. Anything that's stroking, I said, was like a pacifying behavior. Rocking and bouncing can be very similar as well. So it looks like he's trying to burn off that nervous energy. He's pacifying himself maybe by rocking. And then you might argue the hands behind the back is him basically acknowledging subconsciously that he's about to be arrested.
Of you in their underwear?
Mm-hmm.
And where were those photos taken?
sometimes in...
Skip forward for
Yeah,
you
that's-
guys. If I'm going to go over like sensitive topics, I want to warn you guys first, and I don't have the warning, so we're going to skip past his description of the stuff. I'm going to see if he does
Not sure,
anything
Russ, just-
super noticeable.
I was hoping not.
Wait.
I was hoping not. I can't answer the question.
Addict says apparently this guy's been a perfect convict. Knew a few guys who worked in Kingston Penitentiary before it shut down. Yeah, I mean, he did something dumb. There are a lot of soldiers that get caught doing dumb stuff, and because they have that sort of mentality of being a soldier and following orders and doing things to an exact schedule, they do really well in prison, and they behave very, very well because they're already in the mindset that is very effective for just like, you know, it's like this is it's like the military. I just can't go anywhere, and maybe I'll get stabbed. Who knows? But I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay. Not too much here, Russ. Just a few details that I wanted to cover off.
It's just the big boots.
Okay.
Just...
I'm just
Okay.
looking at
So-
the mood. If I went over this whole thing, it would take me like a week because I won't shut up.
Well,
But
the better.
there's so much juicy stuff. To go
Her
over
breasts.
this one. Wait.
It's pretty clear that there was something happened to her breasts. Do you remember what that might have been?
No, I certainly touched her breasts. I didn't do anything to hurt them.
That's a lie. That's a lie. Well, touch the breast, didn't do anything to hurt them. It's a weird statement. Because, again, I'm just skipping around, so maybe I'm missing the context. The detective doesn't ask if they were damaged or anything. Maybe they were photographs. I don't know. And he
What do
volunteers.
you recall doing to her breasts? It's pretty clear that there was something happened to her breasts. Do you remember
Something happened. He doesn't
what
clarify.
that might have been?
No, I certainly
Innocent person might. I know. I keep forgetting to flip back. Innocent person might be like, "What do you mean? Like someone wrote on with Sharpie? Like what?" But if he did something to them, he might jump to a conclusion.
touched her breasts. I didn't do anything to hurt them.
For example, hurting them. Unless I'm missing context, because I'm skipping around a lot, because I could go over this for like a week. I'm not even kidding. There's so much stuff. There's a reason the season training and out of country. It's interesting.
I remember that.
I know I was going to end right like 4 minutes ago, but I gotta.
All right. Well, Russ,
Now, when I suffocated her, she was on her...
Okay, so he's already confessed. So we missed that.
floor.
Okay. Boom. All right. Well, that's all
Certainly.
I'll go over for that. There's just so much with the body language, with the response, and how they get him. And he's like, "Oh, ha ha ha," and then they're like, "Oh, so we found these boot prints near the murder. I believe he murdered a lower enlisted soldier, if I remember correctly, and dumped her body, maybe. And there was something. Was it boot prints or was it tread? I believe they were having an affair, it was sexual assault of some sort, possibly more. And then he killed her. He strangled her, per his confession. I don't remember all the details, but I remember the boots were really important because they basically were like, "Oh, we got these boot prints. Huh. Now this is interesting. You're wearing these exact boots that match the prints." And that, I believe, was like the turning point where he just was like, "Oh." But this would have been 8 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe, that this was used in training. 6? I don't know. It was a long time, so I don't remember all the details. But what they did show was like, oh God, wow, like that's clear. Because it's very clear, the body language, the change in emotions, like when the interrogation turned. Oh, it's so good. So in the comment section of this video, this stream, if there are interrogations you think would be really good to go over, I would love to. And I'd love to like really set aside some time to dedicate to it. Because a lot of this stream was answering some fantastic questions you guys had, you folks, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, so yeah, I got distracted by that, which is good, which is what I wanted. But then we didn't have enough time for me to really go in detail about a lot of stuff because I go over, you know how I am. It's just information. Some of it's useful, some of it's repeated. It's fine. You don't like it? I don't know what to tell you. I'm probably not going to change. I'm not here to be the best channel. I'm here to be a channel and have fun doing it. So, yeah. Unforgiven Jerry asks, is it true someone who's more accepting of the circumstances in an interrogation is more than likely guilty? That depends on what you mean by accepting of the circumstances. I mean, if they like deny it, like that's not what happened. Depends on what they're accepting of. I would say no. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm saying that I would need more information to say yes. If there be okay, so appreciate it. I'll get to that. If they're being super agreeable, you know what? I can kind of answer this. It's the lawyer answer. Like it depends. An innocent person will often start out very friendly and then become more hostile as they're accused of things they know they didn't do. A guilty person, and this is not universal, but this is an often observed thing. A guilty person will start really hostile and then become friendlier. That's not always true, but that is a commonly observed thing. I'm not the only one who's observed this. There are books written that address this. It's very interesting stuff. So it depends. It really depends on the person, on the situation. As all of my answers are, it depends. Deacon, thanks so much. As someone who has done both jobs, this does remind me of why I talk about therapy so much for veterans. For the damn world, because there are things that need to be unpacked, in my honest opinion. Yes. This detective has to live with this. This is part of his life now. This is going to affect him. I hope he sought therapy. I was talking to someone the other day about a crime, like the toolbox killers, something like that, where the lead detective killed himself because it was just too gruesome. And he couldn't live with that knowledge. He couldn't live with their words in his head. And my understanding, according to him, I don't know if this is true or not, but you cannot get the audio. They've scrubbed it off the internet. You cannot request it, but it is used in like training for the FBI. To be like, this is some horrendous stuff you might encounter. I don't know what they do with it. I don't know the details of it. He was just telling me about it. I can't confirm this to be true. But yeah, so like there's some stories I could tell. Generally not my stories. I got pretty lucky. I didn't see too much crazy stuff, but I knew people who did, and wow, some of the stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, Mark, the sarcastic law student, says, literally the answer to 99% of legal questions, it depends. Right. And you think, oh, yeah, tell me about interrogations. Like, it's so dependent on the circumstance, the person, the questions, the time of day, what they ate for lunch. That's a joke. But there's so much if, so much maybe, so much I can't give you an answer to that because I would need to know who the person is and what they did. I would need to interact with them first before I can tell you how this would go down. Body language isn't always universal, but there are some common ones. But often you want a baseline before you start identifying stuff. And it's not so much necessarily like what is their body language, but what is the change in their body language? What is the change in their tone of voice? What are they emphasizing? Does the diction, does the pattern of speech change? Do they start or stop using contractions? There are a lot of people do not like to lie. It's not that they're bad at lying. They just do not. If you accept that you're going to lie, that's like half the battle. Because people are often worried about getting caught in a lie. If you just stick to your guns and tell it, you convince yourself. I mean, you can ask me anything like, "Do you swear on your mother?" Yeah, I swear on my mother. I don't care. But if I'm okay with saying that, not gonna be a problem. But if I'm not, like I do, and I hesitate, why do you hesitate? If you were innocent, there'd be no reason why you wouldn't. But if you're guilty and you don't want to swear on your mother, or maybe there's like a religious thing, like do you swear to God? Do you hold your hand up and say, Jesus, I didn't do it? That Would that be overstepping a boundary? I don't know. I might not do that, but I think it could be done. I just morally disregard. Deacon's last pepper. I flipped for that last pepper, right? I didn't miss it. Let me know if I missed it. I'll check my DMs. Yes. Yes. Hold on. Oh, Dr. Nimrod. Noise. Sorry, I just got your message. So it's it's a whole. I mean, I kind of. It'd be difficult because YouTube would shut it down. Lie to Me. The show Lie to Me is super fun. I love Lie to Me. And they exaggerate some things, like zoom in on like the eyebrows, and then you feel like you're super smart. Like, I identified a thing, and they draw your attention to it. But some of the best acting I've ever seen on a television show, on like a crime drama, because not only are they like, act out this scene, I'm confident they bring in behavioral experts and say, you will act out this scene, and this is how you will do it. Because you can act out like, oh, a little twitch of the whatever, but the speech patterns, not everyone, but some of the actors on some of the episodes, it's perfect. Like, I'll just have it playing in the background. I'll just stop and go, that was a lie. I heard that lie. That's exactly what it sounds like when someone's lying. Oh my God. At least the first few episodes, because I haven't watched all of it. I only seen the first few episodes. I understand it sort of goes downhill after the first season, maybe. I don't know. But some of the behaviors, not just body language, but speech pattern and intonation and all that stuff is perfect. Is exactly what it sounds like in real life. It's not, because often it'll be like, oh, that's an actor acting out an act. But in Lie to Me, some of the people, it feels real. Because all of the body language and the voice stuff is spot on. And you can identify it in the show, if they're lying or not, if you know what to look for. I know I keep saying the same thing, but they do oftentimes, such a good job. I love it. So, I'm as far as shows go, I'm not watching it for the plot. I watch it to see if they get the analysis right, and they do. The show does a good job. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Yeah, if we watch more videos of people trying to lie to Interrogator, I might be able to identify, like, oh, that's them being dishonest. So, do I have another coin flip? I want to confirm I don't. I don't want to steal anybody's coin flip away. We want to leave me with one more coin flip. We can do it. You can leave me with a little bit of pain. We don't have to. But if there's a coin flip left, let me know. Just watching. Yeah, everybody's streaming right now. I just was being lazy, and I was like, I don't have the energy to make an entire video and edit it and do all that stuff. But I do want to do the stream. This is a better option, and I'm still going. I should stop. But I have to fulfill a heads. Wait, there wasn't a heads that I didn't get, right? Bundy, I think Bundy was the one that got pulled over and had some stuff and talked his way out of it. A lot of First Amendment auditors can learn a few things about just being really nice to officers, because if you're nice to them, they generally are more willing to not dig a little deeper. It's true. All right, so I guess there isn't a coin flip. I do kind of want to keep going, but I feel bad because Rennie has things to do, and while I'm streaming, I tell her to leave, and she won't. She's like, "No, I like this." Like, deferred to eat until afterwards. No, I deferred to coin flip. Because I started it and I was like, wait, I never actually flipped for this. Wait. You're right. No, you're right. And then I got distracted and went rambling. Dr. Nimrod, thank you. All right. Coin flip or wrench. All right, let's just confirm. All right, that is heads. All right. The entire habanero, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, what else am I going to do with it? Also, do we like this? Because, like, as an alternative to the apple juice, I'm not going to, like, apple juice is still going to be a thing. But, like, was this fun? Was this fun? I can use this for all. I mean, with this, now we're going to do another mystery stream. But how do we feel about this? Well, all the people who aren't super hardcore viewers like you are fleeing. Now I got my dedicated core people. What do we think? What do we think? What do we think? How are we feeling about that? It's good. All right, people like it. Yeah, we're gonna see tomorrow how much I do not want to do this again. All right. World's Hottest Gummy. Oh, God, no. All right. Discord show. I mean, I probably could do a Discord stream. But that means I have to give you guys my Discord. Rennie, what do we think? What do we think about dropping that Discord link? What's the smallest amount of time we can set it for? It does mean that, John. Also, you're a member, so I assume so. All right. Now, while Rennie is messaging me, let me, Mark, let me just, that's right. That was, there was a voice just chopped that bit out over there. And ooh, it's a very unsharp knife. There's a lot of habanero. I don't know where this voice is going. Hey, that's a lot of habanero. No, I'm trying to go Spanish, but it's still kind of French. It's a weird combination. Hey, how you doing? Is a habanero? No, see, now I feel like it's offensive. I'm sorry. Look, that's fine. Yeah, at some point I might do a Discord video. Alright, let's start with the song. He's Latin fire. I'm not going to tell you what that's from. Not the seeds. Oh, we're keeping all the seeds. Wait for it. Yeah. Sorry. Don't have autofocus on. Want to recreate this at home? I recommend don't. Aaron. Well, maybe we don't take his advice on things then. Just the seeds? I don't know about that. That's a lot. All right. I'm very excited. I found this music last minute, like 5 minutes before stream. I guess I got it. Oh, the milk's still there, don't worry. All right. Dios mío, André, Santa Maria, ¿cómo estás? Rebecca. Yeah, don't know. We could go over the Rittenhouse interrogation trial. It's a lot to go over, though. So it might not be doable. Aw, shucks, John. My hands aren't actually that nice. They're all cut up. A lot of splash from old wounds. That's what happens when you're in the field a lot. I have not tried the Carolina Reaper pepper, on its own. Honestly, I think the worst part about this is that this sauce, it just really coats it. Really gets on the taste buds. Why am I still streaming? What is this? Oh my god, my stomach is going to be very mad. All right, well, I am out of peppers, so if I missed a flip, you won. Mm. What are you ordering for me? Don't you do it. I'm worried. Awkward silence. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here so I don't feel so bad about keeping running around. But it's been a delightful time. I had a lot of fun with this. I can't wait to do it again. And just go over things, answer questions. I mean, it'll be real slow going. We're not going to, like, power through anything. It's not going to be well organized. It's not going to be well disseminated information. It's going to be me going, oh, look at this thing. Let me tell you a story. Also, here's how this works. Blah, 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 blah. And if that's what you want, great. Hit that like button if you want it. Let me know in the comment section if that's what you want. Because I enjoy it. I enjoy just rambling. You know how I be. I won't do this all the time, but you know, take your time. And then stream on Friday. The big stream on Friday. The normal stream on John. I can't accept compliments. You're right. But yeah, good stuff. Gotta figure out what I'm doing on Friday. I could do some Chille stuff because there's a lot of Chille stuff to talk about. Sort of. And we can just laugh at him in court. His court hearing. People are doing that today. People have been doing this all week. If you want to see my take on it as well, let me know. I'll probably put up a votey thing, a little poll. Be like, do you want me to go over it as well? Or do you want me to do a mystery stream? I don't know if this Friday's not good for a mystery stream. This Friday might be a weird stream in general anyway, because it might be at like an odd time. It might not happen at all. There's some weird scheduling stuff I have to figure out. Forgot about that. I don't know. I just see if I shut the stream down, I have to go like do things. I don't really want to, but I guess I will. I will let you know what's happening Friday. I'll probably put out a poll with some suggestions. That'll be fine. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad, James, you like when I ramble, because it's not going to stop. Not for the streams. The regular videos, you know, I can edit it out. It's fine. I write scripts. It's great. But, I mean, this is my chance to just, like, what do you want to know that's not controlled by, like, in a video. Oh, see, I'm still going. Why? I haven't saw the stream. In a video, people are going to complain the stream is too long, by the way. That's fine. They're not going to watch, like, 2.5 hours too long. I'm sorry. I don't like, leave, come back. I don't know what to tell you. I understand, though. What was I just saying? I got distracted with the pepper. It's hard to think with my mouth like this. Oh, A ghost stream. Oh, I do want that idea. Anyway, all right, yeah. Sorry, my brain is fried by the peppers. My stomach's like, hey bud, remember me? So I gotta go. I was in the middle of a thought, forgot the thought completely. Doesn't matter. It's just, yeah, you just cramp a Simpson. You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm gonna go. It's weird because it's not my normal Friday stream. I know. See, I'm gonna get into another topic. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are the best people, and thank you so much for your generosity. It helps keep dumb things like this, and improvements and whatever. Always love talking to you. Always love doing this, and it's gonna keep happening. I am gonna be working on another criminal analysis video. I think the next one's gonna be NCIS. We might go back to another Scooby-Doo one because you guys really like that. And I have a new Jeremy DeWitt. Just a couple videos of a guy in a different part of the country. I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want anyone to steal it from me. But that's gonna be happening soon. We're fact checking a few things, and then that's high on my to-do list. And that's all I will tell you. So hope maybe see you Friday. I'll see you guys later at some point. I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated. Maybe, hopefully, probably not. Who knows? And until next time, folks, be good. Stay safe.